Welcome back to Talk Hockey Radio World Cup Daily Podcast. We are back once again for day 5. I am joined by Taff the intern, who has been let out of Keely's re-education facility once again. And we have a special guest, Tommy Alexander, international goalkeeper with 85 caps for Scotland, who's just completed a transfer to Berliner club.
That's correct, yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us, giving us an air of legitimacy.
Not sure about that, but see what I can do.
So I think it's safe to say we've had quite a jam-packed day in terms of goals scored. I think we've had some of the biggest score lines of the tournament so far. So we'll jump straight into it with Chile versus Australia, which was the first game of the day, ending 4-4. And I know both of you have said that you caught the highlights, but I assume that the highlights were still 70 minutes long because there was not a lot of downtime in this game. So Australia starting strong, piling on the pressure, getting the lead, then Chile coming back, leveling things up, Australia jumping into the lead again, Chile then leveling up and taking the lead, and Australia scoring right at the death to equalise. I mean, what an opening game for the day. End to end, pure adrenaline.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite lucky when I was away in the in the World Cup qualifiers in February or March in Chile, and Chile gave Australia a really tough time. So they've really come on leaps and bounds, and I mean, I'm a bit biased. I've worked with Rhett Halkett, played with Rhett in Germany, and he was my assistant coach at the 2022 Commies Games. So I have a real soft spot for Rhett because he's a great guy and a fantastic coach. So I'm genuinely delighted for him that he's progressing the Australian team. But I also have a soft spot for Chile because they're a smaller nation, a bit like Scotland, and it's really nice to see these lesser nations actually putting up a good fight, and yeah, I mean, that's only good for hockey. So really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just going to say they've been doing really well, haven't they, throughout the tournament, and pretty much, I wouldn't say they're a wild card as such, but you know, they're a nice surprise. Can I say? You wouldn't expect them to actually play like that against Australia. It was pretty much end to end. I mean, you know, I only saw highlights and things, but it looked really, really tense in terms of the action that happened leading up to the goals and possibly, you know, between the goals that were scored as well. Q4 was absolutely intense, wasn't it? Really, I think in the last 10 minutes of the game, there were 4 goals.
Yeah,
crazy.
So, you know, like you're saying, you know, it was Chile leading and then Australia coming back right near the end to actually equalise and go 4-4 was they could have won it. They could have won it.
So qualification for the next round actually shifted from Australia to Chile when they took the lead and then back to Australia. So that final quarter was edge of the seat viewing, which we don't often get in hockey. On to the second game of the day. Argentina taking on Scotland. Unfortunately for Tommy, Argentina did run out 2-0 winners.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny one. Obviously, for them not to go through is sad, but I think the performance they put up today was actually huge. I don't think there's any secret that Scotland this tournament have really struggled to score enough goals. I think they've actually defensively been pretty good. But yeah, I mean, they've done really well to get there. Those, again, being a smaller nation, the amount of time and money and commitment those girls have put in, and they've been they've outdone us for quite a long time. So there's nothing but kind of admiration for what they've achieved. And yeah, I think ultimately the quality that an Argentina has is, you know, that I know they would have targeted the America game, but America have been to Olympics now. They get to go to Pro League. They are that level above. They've been there and done that. And I think you could see with the Scottish girls, they put in a great performance today, but they just don't have the access that some of these other nations do. So I think they can hold their heads high. And yeah, I think they ran out of steam a little bit. That was as much as they could give.
No, I think, as you say, defensively, I think they were really strong today. They held out against a very dominant Argentinian performance. Real, for lack of better terminology, back to the wall job in keeping them at bay as long as they did. I know they scored from a penalty corner in the first quarter, but they didn't score again until midway through the third quarter, and they had the majority of the possession and chances in that whole time in between. So a very good defensive performance. But
I think that's where Scotland are always always can do well against the kind of the top nations. Very good at being brave and defensively organised and things like that. The question is, can like I was saying about the lack of goals before, but what can you do against a similar level team? Can you break them down? Because obviously the defence can only get you so far. So yeah, but I mean, it's a relatively young team, and yeah, I think they had a good Euros last summer, and they've survived again. So I think they're in a pretty good place. So
I mean, like you're saying it, but in the first quarter they actually piled on a lot of pressure. In the first 10 minutes, at least, I think Argentina were a bit on their back foot, really, and they were very unlucky not to actually score a goal in the first 10 minutes of that game. Really, I mean, I think the Argentinian PC goal came around about 11, 12 minutes into that first half, and then like you were saying, Fraser, Argentina didn't actually score anything until Q3, and that was again later on in that quarter as well. And the second quarter was quite evenly matched. I mean, I think Argentina had a little bit more of the lion's share of possession, really, in that quarter. But in the second half, so in the third quarter, I thought Scotland came out fighting again. They didn't really give up, did they? And they still sort of like piled on the pressure right throughout the game anyway. And Q4 was pretty much, again, evenly matched, but no goals scored there.
I'll be interested to see how Scotland get on in the lower tier of the second round.
Do you know who they've got?
So it'll be Scotland, United States, and Chile and Japan. I think of the four that go into their pool.
That's tough. That's really tough.
I think Chile's probably going to be the toughest game for them, possibly. Just the way that they've actually playing now at the moment. They could have a chance against USA and Japan. I mean, Japan, from the look of it, they did actually lose today as well. So they might have two games that they could do pretty well in, and Chile might be a bit of a fight for them. But
so they won't replay United States.
Sorry,
they only play the two from the other group.
Oh, sorry,
play United States, but
okay.
I think it'll be an interesting measure.
Yeah,
against Japan and Chile.
Yeah.
Okay. Third game of the day: England versus Wales, with England running out 8-2 winners.
Yeah, I mean that was a pretty dominant performance. I actually watched the game, and I don't know. I had a bit of it was funny. I was listening to some of the Welsh guys before, and we've given ourselves a good point, and we can turn over England. And I think Wales they've done so well because they have and it pains me as a Scottish player to give credit to Wales, but what they have achieved is fantastic. I know that I used to play with Dan Kyriakides at Reading and Ulster, and you see what those similar to us, but they've had certainly financial problems longer than we have, and yeah, those boys really put in an amazing shift. But today the quality was vast, and England really turned up. Because I remember in previous ones where I can't remember which, I think it was the Euros where they 2019 when they drew with England 3-3, and you know that was kind of what I was expecting today. But this England team, again, England teams often tend to do well in the group stages. Can they do it in a knockout stage? I don't. I think there's better teams, but yeah, that was absolutely frightening. That was absolutely frightening.
Yeah, I mean, the start, I think Ward's goal was around the 1 minute mark, and then they just continued to pile on the pressure, and every little misstep by the Welsh defence would seem to be capitalised on. I think there's a little bit of a question to be asked about holding the result till the end. 2 quick goals, the penalty stroke and the penalty corner for Wales late on. Should England have been able to shut up shop a little bit better than that? But I suppose at 8-0 up, you can take your foot off a little bit. Maybe let your mind wander. But
yeah, I guess you're probably right. But then again, you know, even looking at the performance from Wales, I mean, I watched this game and it didn't look like they were actually giving up at all, were they? Really, they're still trying to fight for every ball, trying to get a turnover. And when they did, they looked quite strong and forceful going forward. There's a lot of physicality in the game as well, wasn't there? And I think there always is with, like, let's say Scotland, England, and you know Wales, England, and you know home nations. Always lots of physicality, and the boys know each other as well, don't they? Through different like clubs and playing internationally as well. Yeah, I think maybe England did sort of like hold off a little bit and maybe took their foot off the accelerator a little bit. And I think they probably did, and obviously Wales capitalised on that. But like, you know, you can't fault them for not actually giving up, even coming down from, you know, was it 8-0 down in the fourth quarter, and then they score 2 pretty decent goals within like minutes of each other.
Yeah. The only thing I would add is that should be the scoreline. You know, I mean, like that's a lot of guys playing abroad and with a fully funded program. And don't get me wrong, I think Draper is one of the best midfielders in the world, and they do have. And obviously, when Gareth connects and flicks well, he's a top flicker as well. But yeah, there are guys there that have had to pay $5,000 to be at that tournament, and the other lot are getting paid. They should win that game like that all the time. So yeah, well done, but you should have.
yeah, I think that's a fair comment.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, fourth game, United States versus Germany in the women's. Germany coming out 3-1 winners. Did you manage to catch the highlights for this game?
Yeah, I had a look through. Yeah, I do a lot of work with Germany, so I have a bit of a soft spot for them. And from what I saw, they looked really calm. I know it got to 2-1, and it was a little bit tight for a while, but the amount of possession they had, it was very one way. And it's Chelsea Bing, the American goalie. I thought she made some brilliant saves and kept them in it. And yeah, I mean, it was a pretty one-sided affair. So I mean, Germany should have scored a lot more goals, but win's a win. Next round, done, I think, for them.
Yeah, I think Bing's performance, as you rightly called out, really kept the scoreline down. I think a different goalkeeper, you could have seen this be 5 or 6 quite easily. I mean, clearly difficult to beat with 2 of the goals coming from penalty strokes. And then on to the game that I think every umpire was worried about. Pakistan versus India in the men, finishing 5-3 to India. But wow, did Pakistan not give up. At 3-0 down, I was like, all right, well, this is just going to be a runaway. Oh, Pakistan have got one back. Oh, that's nice. Oh, India have gone and scored immediately. Oh, Pakistan have got another one back. Oh, India have scored again. Oh, Pakistan have still not given up. Oh,
it could have gone either way. I remember seeing it. I think did you say it got to 4th, or is it? It was close for a while. I mean, there was a stroke that the Pakistani player gave away that was ludicrous. There was absolutely no need to make that foul, and I think that swung the momentum. I think India looked really good this tournament. I think they've actually played some really good stuff. And again, I have a bit of a soft spot for Pakistan because playing against them over the years, I've only come across them when they've had troubles as such, as once being that great dominant force to then seeing them struggle. So getting to play them at a few tournaments and getting to know actually both sets of players off the pitch a little bit. Everyone's just good guys and they're trying to do it. And they're kind of refreshing as a throwback in terms of that's what we want to see. That's the style of hockey we want to see, run and gun. We want to see exciting hockey, not always a methodical way of playing. So I thought that was actually a really good spectacle. And yeah, they really didn't give up. So I think fair play, but I think India are that level above at the moment.
Yeah,
I think Pakistan is still developing at the moment, aren't they? They've restructured pretty recently as well, haven't they? Like you're saying, they've had troubles with the organization and the handling of players and the whole caboodle of it. But now, hopefully, it's a little bit more settled, and they may be getting back into it. I didn't catch the game, but in the grand scheme of things, I think they're kind of like restructuring, regrouping, redoing what they're good at, and just like India did a good few years ago, they've come on leaps and bounds, and they've got to a stage where they are now, where they're actually competing against international teams as well. Whereas maybe like let's say even 5-10 years ago they weren't doing that, and I think Pakistan are probably in that stage now where they're building again, and then hopefully we might see them, maybe compete 5 or 10 years down the line. Maybe, I don't know, maybe even sooner. Who knows?
Yeah, I think Pakistan changed their coach about a month ago, maybe a month and a half, but a very short time before the World Cup to be changing out your coach.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say I was doing some coaching at a club in Bremen, Club Safar, and one of the assistant coaches is Adnan. And he was telling me, I've had this opportunity to go to the World Cup. And I think Chris Bowen was there, who runs Evo Hockey. And I was like happy for these guys to get the opportunity, but to have it 4 to 6 weeks, you're there going, how much preparation are these guys going to actually have to put it in? So when you put that into context, you go, actually, you guys have done a good job. So again, I haven't seen the league table, so I assume they are out now.
Yeah, so from this group, England and India will go into the top pool, and Pakistan and Wales will go into the bottom pool. And the next game decided the other group, which was France versus Germany, which finished 1-1. A really kind of, I don't want to describe it as a come-down game, but when you compare it to India-Pakistan before, this was much more sedate, a lot more tactical. Germany playing methodical hockey, really controlling the game. Not a huge amount of chances. It wasn't end-to-end. It was quite midfieldy. So I think 1-1 was probably a fair scoreline on reflection.
It was a very typical German already qualified performance. I'd say that what those guys are exceptional at is playing to the occasion. And after that huge win against Belgium, I mean, first quarter, I thought Germany were very strong, but then after that, they weren't so strong on the ball, but they were defensively like monumental against. And that to me is a typical German performance where looking for the counter attack, soak up. They're often very good against teams that have a lot of possession, but when they're the team that need to break the other team down, it's not so much to their strength. So not so. I think France are a really, really good team. But again, I think it could have been very different if Germany needed the points today. It looked quite, flat. I would say is probably the best way of describing it.
Yeah. Germany go through as group winners with 7. Belgium go through in second place with 6. France and Malaysia go into the lower pool. So, like you say, Germany already qualified, knowing that a point would give them top spot. I think once they got the first goal, they were happy to sit back and just absorb pressure. If France got one, that's fine. If France had got a second, I feel like they could have sped back up, probably created another chance, got a goal back.
I'll just agree with both of you because I didn't watch the game. Sorry.
Nah, it's all good. On to Netherlands versus Japan in the women. And have you seen the score for this, Taff?
Yeah, I'm looking at my sheet down here.
9-0 win for Netherlands.
I know. When I saw that, I was thinking, wow, that's a bit of a battering. I mean, I thought the England and Wales game was quite good and with an 8-2, but wow, just that is pure one-sided, isn't it? Really. Feel sorry for Japan, but like again, it's not a game that I unfortunately didn't watch it. But when I looked at the score, I'm thinking that's a bit of a battering and a half, really.
Yeah, I think before the game, you probably could have described how it was going to go. Netherlands were going to have a lot of possession, they were going to have a lot of chances, and they were probably going to put quite a lot of them away. I think Yibi Janssen got 4. So it's good for her to find her scoring form right before it goes into the winners' pool.
I mean, realistically, everyone else at that tournament is fighting for second. I just think they are so far ahead of everybody else. Just they could put in a second or third team, and it would still cause anyone trouble on their day. Just everywhere from the goalkeeper to the flicker to the front line, the midfield is just so stacked and so good. Maybe they should be allowed to pass into the men's tournament next time. It's just like too easy for these girls at the moment. It's not fair.
They did quite well. Wouldn't they?
Yeah, I genuinely think they probably would.
Yeah,
they probably would.
But did you think it was going to be that high a score though?
Personally, no. I think like Japan have been actually a very steady international team now, and especially since Tokyo, that build up that they had, and which is nice is that they've kind of kept it going. Because you often see when they get the Olympic funding, then it drops, then the quality goes with it. But they've actually stayed at a relatively good level, which is good. Despite the golfing gloves, I've got some question marks over the fashion design there, but seems to be working. But I think, I didn't expect that. You'd expect a comfortable Dutch victory, but I mean, 9-0 is, it's not great for anyone.
No, I think going into it, I said 5 or 6, then they'll probably ease back. But when the chances come, they're not going to put them wide just for the sake of it.
Yeah, sure.
And then the final game of the day saw Belgium taking on Malaysia in the men's, finishing 5-3. Not to be outdone, Tom Boone has got 4 in this game. Just because, he didn't want to be left behind.
He's probably going to win the golden stick, I think. He's certainly got a chance.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pretty sure one of them he did poach on the line.
Good. He's done a Cristiano Ronaldo.
Just to get his numbers up. But no, again, a good start to the game. It went kind of how you'd expect for the first half. It was a lot of Belgian possession, a lot of chances created. A rousing speech, I assume, at halftime for the Malaysian team, because they came out in the second half and managed to claw 3 goals back from being 2-0 down to end 4-2 at the end of the third quarter and then 5-3 at full time. I think is a good battle back from a position where they didn't look like they could even create chances in the first half, really. A little unfortunate at the end. I think there was 5 or 6 penalty corners, as I describe them, extra time penalty corners where the final whistle's gone. And I think Hendricks was desperate to try and get a goal. They'd pulled their goalkeeper and they just kept firing into the first runner. So it just kept being rewarded. And then eventually it copped the stick and went over the bar to end the game. But I do not envy their runners on that penalty corner string. The game's gone, the result's over, but we're still going to run it down. Now it's hit a foot again. Okay. Oh, it's hit a foot again. Oh no.
I was going to say, I've been fortunate to play Malaysia twice this year at Nations Cup, and they're a really good team. They have some amazing technical ability. Again, they have a nice balance of that kind of run-gun hockey, which I'm a big fan of from the Asian teams. And they've definitely got a bit of structure and a bit of nous behind them as well. And I have to say, I think it's number 23. I've forgotten his name. He's got like white, I can't remember, it's like a Red Bull stick or something like that. But he scored a couple of goals at the start of the tournament, and he is electric. He is such a good player. And yeah, Malaysia have kind of been, from what I remember, playing them years ago, and then they kind of disappeared again, and then they've come back, and they're looking really, really good. So I'm genuinely happy that they've had, and that they would have loved to have got to the next round, but realistically, the two teams above them are better, and that is how it's going to go. But no, they're actually an enjoyable team to watch and really difficult to play against.
They're one of my surprise teams, really. I mean, watching and looking at their results and things, they kind of surprised me in terms of where they were, where they have been, and where they've ended up now, and competing against these tougher teams and doing quite well. Scoring against them, and okay, not quite doing it, but not giving up, like you're saying, Tommy. Not giving up, and they've got some really good technical skills, and they play like the Asian style of hockey, don't they? Really, as most of the Asian teams do, of course. But yeah, they didn't give up. They didn't, second half, that, like you were saying, Fraser, they came back out and scored 3 goals. So they must have had a really good team talk and tried to sort of think about what they needed to do differently in the second half, and then they did it. And unfortunately, it wasn't quite good enough. But they scored 3 goals, and they probably give the opposition a bit of a scare as well when they did that.
Yeah, so that takes us to the end of the day. We've got the group stages finishing up tomorrow, and then we're into the new second phase, which is a second round of group stages with the 2 winners groups and the 2 losers groups.
Why is it always so complicated?
They don't like it when it's straightforward.
No. I mean, I've had a bit of a moan and groan, but it's similar for us with it's obviously not the World Cup, but the format that they've used for the Europeans next summer is actually dreadful. It's so I've been quite positive this chat, but in terms of formats, I just don't get why hockey constantly does bizarre things. I think it's great that they've made it a larger tournament, 16 teams, and I think you can see by the Football World Cup, I think they went massive in the other direction where they put a lot of teams, but actually it was a pretty successful and well received. And this is what's so beautiful about today. And okay, you're going to get the kind of the England-Wales score that happens sometimes, but actually you want these shock results. You want, you think of where France have been 10 years ago to where they are now. They only get better by playing at this level. And the moment all this sort of segregation comes into of the top team against a lower ranked team, and yeah, I worry for hockey with crap formats. And I think I don't know if you've seen what the European one is, but they've basically put the top 6, so an A and a B group, top 3, Group A and Group B are automatically in the quarterfinals, and then Group C and D, only the top of those groups go into the quarterfinals. So what you've basically done is gone, oh, if you guys over there in the B group do well enough, you can come and join us in the A group. So for like myself as a Scottish player, you're going, we want to play Holland, we want to play Germany, we want to play Spain, but you've basically put a B division to the side, and you're set. And so now we're basically, and that's no disrespect to Ireland or Wales or Italy, Poland, but the whole point is that there might be a David versus Goliath moment or something like that. But the moment you take it away and it comes back into this bizarre formats that hockey creates, and until they start putting fans first with facilities and formats that are easy to follow and understand, the game's just not going to progress. And like you've seen some of these games, this tournament have been great because it's people don't get to play each other that often, and they surprise each other and they do things and everything like that. So yeah, sorry, that's my gripe. But
I'll be honest, you're preaching to the converted about it not being very fan forward in the format. Not many people have 12 hours a day to sit watching hockey.
Yeah, that's such a valid point. When you're, can you watch these games? I can watch some of the games today, but I can't watch everything. And I would love to watch all the games. I mean, Football World Cup, I really managed to get a lot of the games in, and they're longer games and there's more teams. And I just don't understand how we can't do it. It's 16 teams. I really don't think it's that. I say that now. If you put me in charge, it'd probably be even worse because like my admin skills are absolutely dreadful. But I'd make sure somebody else who was capable was able to do it and do a good job. I'd like to think.
Well, we'll bring this episode to a close. Thank you very much for joining us, Tommy.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Intern Taff,
Yes.
you might make it back again.
Thanks. It has been good having you, Tommy. Really good insight and some, very insightful things on the games that you've basically gave us.
Now, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.